I know at work. We'll see how the viewership does.
Yeah, I saw that you didn't really you weren't tweeting much about the show, which is, completely fine. I figured that was the reason why.
Hmm.
We're live. I don't know who's here. I don't know if anybody's gonna be here, but we are live.
Oh man, it'd be tremendous if the stream starts with me talking about my tactics to get new viewers, and then we're like, no one's here. Bummer, not did not work. Would not be great. Here we go. There's some pals here.
James Ed Smith says finally, more like Jeremy Latebird. Yeah, this is completely my fault. I mean,
Oh, I didn't even see that. I didn't even see that comment. That's a tremendous.
That's
comment.
the first comment that just popped in. I mean, it's fair. Again, that's my fault. Yeah, my bad.
It's fine.
It's frequently late individual. I understand. Appreciate it.
Good evening, James, JR, Whiskey Dick, Ray,
Whiskey Dick.
Ron, all good stuff. 20 folks in here in a minute. Seems good. Bodes well. Jeremy Lambert bodes well.
Yes, I'm posting the link on the Fightful social, and the link went up on the actual website as well. So did everybody good with the website this weekend? Please tweet Sean Ross Sapp, let him know things ran smoothly and that I deserve a raise.
Tremendous stuff, man. You were lead podcast host. You was running the site. You were doing your news beat and tremendous stuff.
That's just run the offense, Joseph. Just run the offense.
Mm-hmm. That's what you do, pal. It was great to see Chris Paul actually hit some mid-range, wasn't it? Wonderful
Man,
stuff.
it was so good to see him actually shoot the basketball last night.
Yeah.
I think it's bad, but yeah, it was good to see him play well last night. And now, if Davis is out, we'll see. It's tough.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough. Before we get to the AEW, I gotta answer the man Whiskey Dick here. Says Jerry, there are many people who do not believe Nathaniel McKinnon is the best player in hockey. And I'm with you, man. I'm with you. When I tweeted that last night, somebody's like, "Does Alex Ovechkin not exist?" I was like, "I don't know. He hasn't existed in the playoffs for the past 2 years, while McKinnon is still going strong. So maybe he doesn't exist."
So I obviously have no take on this, but I cannot stress enough how much I hate the "does this guy no longer exist" to. It's like, just tweet your own tweet about him being the best player, bro. I obviously know he exists. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
There's no need for this. There's 50 people here now.
Oh my God.
When I'm about to tell them that I have no notes on the show, seems bad. I do want to say, because as Cole mentions a bit, I will not be dunking on the NWA World's Champion, Nick Aldis. I don't think he actually has any beef with me whatsoever, so, I have no,
That got brought up last night on the post show.
Oh, it did? Oh, I thought you said you got brought up. I was like, oh,
No.
Okay.
Andrew brought it up on the show.
That's where I was, pal. I was working out this in a VFW. Yes, it was an event for sure. Okay, folks. So here's the deal. Those of you that have joined these Monday streams don't know that I generally am pretty attention to detail oriented on these things. This will not be that kind of show, folks. This show, I watched it this morning on delay, no spoilers. The pal in the chat, JR, was with me. My brother was there, and we just watched it, man. It was tremendous. Watching it as a fan, which I frankly seldom do at this point, Jeremy. I think you know that as well as I do. I love wrestling. I very rarely watch it exclusively as just a consumer. This pay-per-view was a chance for me to do that, and I wanted to take advantage of it. So I do apologise, folks. If there's a match that you want me to go through with a fine-tooth comb, I will do that another time. But this is going to just kind of be looser than usual to point out. And also, my comment, and another apology, in fairness, Jeremy, is I have no idea what Jeremy Lambert said on the review show last night. So I will be asking his opinions as though none of you are watching this and we're just talking amongst each other. I apologise. I've not seen any reviews. I haven't even read any reviews. So I don't know if I'm about to say some crazy shit or some what. I don't know, Jeremy. I don't know. All I know is we've got nearly 60 people on Twitch to watch us talk about a show that happened. It's been 100 reviews at this point. It feels like it's years ago now.
Yeah.
And I watched it on delay. So I do appreciate it. Jeremy, anything to set this up before we get rolling with the double or the nothing?
No. Listen, oh, let me shout some people out.
Go.
Max Arsa 96, James Ed Smith, M Stevens 3308, JC Esquire 8, and the Snowman. Appreciate the follows, everybody. Hope y'all are well. Hope y'all are ready to and J-Bin subscribing for 4 months. 4-month streak. Appreciate you, J-Bin. A good man to J-Bin. Thank you guys. Hope y'all are ready to chat double or nothing here.
Indeed. So there's a lot of matches on this show, and all of them got relative time, right? And this is obviously a big topic of discussion for AEW. I do want to stress that my enjoyment of this show was enhanced so much by not watching it live. Because if it was 5 a.m. when the Stadium Stampede was happening, I would have got tired. And I didn't watching it. Watching it today, I was fresh, I was excited, and for that reason, if you're kind of confused why I'm not bringing up the length for this stuff, none of it felt long to me because I was fresh. I was watching it like 9, 10 in the morning. So I did see some people talking about that, and I get it. It's a long show. It's 4 hours, but I do think at this point it's just a case of like, this is what these shows are going to be, right? Yeah. I don't think Tony Khan has any intention to make these things some 2.5 hour zip. I know you'd like that, and I get it.
I don't mind it.
It is what it is.
I mean, I would like it a little bit shorter, but like, start the show at 7. That'd be cool. That way it's over by 11. Or the Saturday shows is fine too. It's just, man, Sunday again. I went to bed at like 4 a.m. last night because not only does AEW do their show, but they do the media stuff, and so like I gotta work on that stuff too. So I was done working at maybe like 3:20, and then I do get like a high from this stuff. Like I get a high from working, especially doing like post shows and a long night and everything. So I'm not like completely zapped after shows like this, especially good shows, and this was a good show. So I can't just like, all right, I'm done with work, let me just immediately crash out. Like I gotta come down a little bit. So yeah, I didn't get to sleep till like 4 a.m. and I'm back up at 9 and I'm back at it. Unfortunately, it was a pretty slow day, which was nice, but yeah, that's really my issue. The actual show itself, sometimes it'll feel a little bit long, but I'm more mad about like all the media stuff and everything Tony Khan wants to do afterwards.
I think this point about starting at 7 is a good one. I think that that's necessary. So I have watched the buy-in match, but I did it backwards, right? So like I knew this show was gonna be 4 hours, Jeremy. So when I'm gonna watch this thing on delay, it's like let's just watch the show. Like I want to just watch the 4 hour block they're gonna give me. And then, of course, my DMs suggested the best match of the night was on the buy-in, so I went back and retroactively watched that. I think watching Serena and Riho, while I appreciate it was very, very good, I think it was not as impactful to me because I was watching it after watching the other 9 matches. I know that for you guys watching live, it was the first match in the arena. Like, it's red hot, right? The atmosphere was incredible. But you know where I'm going with this already. Like, look, I don't want to understate how good Riho is. Awesome babyface. Easy to structure matches with because of how wonderful she is in that role. But like, yet again, this match was a Serena Deeb like tour de force, right? She's on, man. And the craziest thing is too, is like you can see her personality and confidence coming out. Yeah. She was a lot more active in that regard as a character in this match than I've seen her yet. The match with Red Velvet, she was more aggressive than ever. I guess she's kind of a heel, but she's really just like an ace at this point, which is really odd to say about the NWA Women's Champion AEW. But, I mean, these are just amazing matches she's having. She hasn't missed in AEW, man. She can have a great match almost anyone, and this was no exception. Obviously, not a surprise. They had a great match in the tournament deal they did a couple months back. Great match. I think I would have enjoyed it even more, though, if I'd have watched it as the buy-in match, when it was fresh and everyone's flying up. So, yes, Jeremy, I assume you like this very much. Again, I did not watch the review, so I apologise if you have to repeat yourself.
Mr. Mucky, appreciate the follow. That was my favourite match on the show, Joseph.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when you say that, is that a case of you being so high on that match, or a case of, like, you have issues with some of the other critically acclaimed matches?
I think it's a couple of things. One, I was very high on the match. I did have issues with some other matches. I think also, like, it was the first match in front of the fans. It didn't get, like, the biggest reaction of the night, but, like, the fans were just so pumped up for everything that, by the end of the night, and I don't know how well it came across on TV when you're not exhausted and you're watching it fresh, but, like, crowd was a little burned by some of the stuff. I don't know. I just really enjoyed this match. I love Serena Deeb right now. And Riho, she plays such a good babyface in peril. And Jim Ross wasn't on commentary to remind us of her weight a bunch of times and everything. Like, it was... I just really loved this match. It had a nice pace to it. It was short. Like, it didn't feel long anyway. Like, it was a really good match.
No, it was excellent. I don't disagree with you. I wish I'd have started with it, but I didn't want to like climb through an hour and 20-minute buy-in. It just felt, it was like let's just watch the 4-hour thing. There's enough I've got to get through here. But it was excellent. Folks in the chat, if you want to throw like stuff about each match we talk about, feel free, because it will remind me of stuff. So, for example, J Ben said the knee stomps before locking in Sunrise Great. Dude, how violent was that? Huh?
Yeah.
Like, you've seen like John Gresham. I love John Gresham. When he does it, it doesn't look as gnarly as that did. That was like, she was really, her intensity and the way she goes through the gear. She's a beast. Though.
She's so good. It's crazy that she is like praising Dean Malenko because he didn't do any of this shit.
Why is Dean getting attacked so often on this show? What's happening, Jeremy? You didn't bring up Dean Malenko once, and now, like, 2 weeks in a row, you've been like, he sucked, Dean Malenko, fuck Dean Malenko.
I'm just getting myself in trouble.
Oh, God. Okay. It was 14 minutes, but didn't feel it. Yeah, the timing on this show is interesting, because, again, I didn't have a problem with any of the matches' timings, and I feel like that makes me in the minority. But we will see, we'll talk about it as we go here, folks. I do have a question from a production point of view that I think I may like just be dumb or I'm missing something. Do their pay-per-views like open with video packages?
Oh, like you mean like the actual main show pay-per-view?
Yeah.
I think they like usually like run down the card or something. They jumped right into the action here, didn't they? Or am I mistaken?
So the Fight TV deal, the replay started with like the last 10 seconds of the buy-in. And then it was like, like, don't pirate this event and all that good stuff. And then it was just like, we're live.
Yeah, no, they don't have like a little intro gimmick that you always see with WWE. It just jumps right in. Like, they do all that stuff on the buy-in, really.
That's fine. I haven't got a problem with it. It's just it stood out to me because this was the first time I watched it without watching the buy-in beforehand. The opener, folks... I was fired up to hear a crowd. When it was Brian Cage's music first, I was somewhat concerned that I had got myself in trouble here. I was going down a sad route. Double or Nothing last year, I remember they did, and they had like a Shad tribute in there and stuff like that. I do remember that. They show the countdown first off the buy-in. Right, see, yeah. I get it, yeah. Brian Cage has been someone that we've had, frankly, fun at the expense of. And I have made many who better than jokes. We have sort of referenced stuff and had some, we're just be kind of been dickheads, and fair enough. Whether it's earned or not, I don't know. But let me tell you something, Jeremy. Dude can go, man.
Yeah.
Dude can really go. And when you pair him with a babyface, this is over as Hangman Page, and they basically are just told, look, you've got, what was it, 10 minutes, a little bit more, to do every cool thing in your arsenal. This went from being, what a strange choice for opener, to being, oh my God, what a perfect choice for opening, because it made Hangman feel like a megastar, which is what you want. And not just that, this was a match that needed an attentive crowd. This wasn't the kind of match where you wanted to put in the middle, because then it would have suffered. This was the best version of this match these two could have. And what was tremendous was, because the TV match had that angle beforehand where they jumped him, it was completely different to the TV match, right? Like, which in AEW, saying not a lot of guys have to do, because frankly, they don't do a lot of ring matches. So I thought this was absolutely tremendous in a fashion that I didn't expect. It was probably my least anticipated match of the night. And I loved it. I have to say, I thought this was absolutely tremendous. Jeremy, are you with me or are you less high on this?
Dude, Hangman is fucking over.
Yeah.
Like, the pop he got was great because, people were a little bit worried that he, like, cooled off and everything during the pandemic era. And they didn't know how crowd was going to react because I think we've said it. I don't know if he like fully cooled, but he wasn't. He was teaming with Omega and everything beforehand. And once the Omega arc finished, he just kind of took a step back, did the Dark Order stuff, and people were like, oh, okay, where's this kind of going? A feud with Matt Hardy and everything. He's like, all right, where's this going? He didn't lose anything because that man like got one of the biggest pops of the night. as far as the match goes, I liked it. I mean, yeah, Brian Cage did like all of his cool shit, which was, I'd still like to see him work a little bit differently, but and some of the stuff, like, man, you're doing like avalanche F5s for like 2 counts and stuff. Like, I don't know. Come on, man. Like, can we like not? You're gonna do that? Like,
yeah.
Hangman's just hitting an F5 as well for a 2 count. They did a lot of cool shit though in this match. Yeah, Hangman fucking rules. I didn't like totally care for the finish, and this was a theme throughout the night, like all these run-ins and distractions and stuff. It didn't always lead to the finish, but man, there were a lot of them on this show.
See, I liked this one, but I get your broader point, and I think there's a couple we can look at and analyse.
Yeah.
This one I liked, and I thought it was the right story to tell with Team Taz, and where Cage fits on the roster as a babyface.
See, that's my other issue. Is like, man, babyface Brian Cage, like, I don't know where that's going, because like Archer might be a babyface too after all this stuff. So, I mean, I'm taking Archer over Cage.
Archer is, I think Archer's locked in I think he's been a babyface since like Kingston was feuding with him.
Yeah, true.
I know he was a dick to Sting, but eventually he came out and like took their side.
Which tunnel did Archer come out of? I don't remember. They don't have the tunnels anymore. They just got the single tunnel for this show. So I don't know who's the babyface and who's the heel.
You tell me, pal. I don't know. I do remember there was one show where they felt like there was a lot of turns, and I think Archer, like, they teased him heel, and then he didn't actually do anything to Sting. He just was like associated, so then he came out and challenged Miro. I think he's a babyface, is the point. But I agree with you. My mind went to him too. That they're going to fill very similar roles. It feels like Cage is a tier below that. But we shall see. I think live crowds will enjoy his stuff because he does do a lot of cool shit.
He does. And I'm kind of with you. Like, I didn't mind this finish as the first finish of the night. I think it kind of just got lessened as the night went on, and that's sort of how I'm looking at it, because there were just so much. And yeah, Cage as a babyface just doesn't do much for me. But to me, like, the standout was Hangman. Man, that dude fucking rules.
Yeah. He's ready to go, man. I'm Crackerjack said Cage and Miro. Someone else mentioned it. I mean, that sounds pretty fun. I think you can rock with that. Yeah, Archer and Pac. It's weird. They use those guys when King was feuding with those. They both were like turned babyface by Eddie, who then turned babyface himself. I don't know what Pac is. I have no idea. Like, Archer, I'm confident is a babyface. I have no idea. He's just Pac, right? Is what it's just a badass.
Yeah. Cyclops is better than Logan says. Without a mouthpiece, Cage is doomed. Yeah, as a babyface, that's tough. You gotta protect him on the promo there, because not a strong talker, and I feel like they could pair him with somebody, but like as a babyface mouthpiece, they typically, like, they don't have too many of those. Most of the mouthpieces are the older heels.
It's interesting because my wrestling mind would usually go to, well, you find him a tag partner. It's like, I mean, that would make them the 15th best team in AEW. So good, it's very hard. But
Kazarian and Cage.
There you go, good stuff. Speaking of tag titles, tag teams, up next, an interesting placement for this. What's happening?
Nothing. I'm sad for you.
Oh God, I thought I'd lost my internet connection, so I was very scared. The Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Buck, as Prince Devitt once famously named them, against the Wild Things of Ed Kingston and Jonathan Moxley. I don't know where you stand on this, so I'm just going to go, okay? This thing was fucking incredible, man. Yeah. I love this match. This is an emotional roller coaster, unlike I've experienced in wrestling in a long, long time. I think the Young Bucks deserve so much credit for how good they are in this role as obnoxious dickheads. Everyone in the building wanted them to lose in the most sincere, authentic way. And to their credit, they're versatile enough that they basically worked a Moxley and Kingston match with their own finishing stretch. Basically, you start with that presentation on the entrance, which is just like one of the coolest. It's one of the coolest things you'll see ever in wrestling. Like, it was an amazing moment, and seeing, you had not just the Wild Thing and seeing Moxley's energy, seeing crowds back, but then you have the element of when it just started to fade down a little bit, having the Eddie chants. It was like, man, we're really living something special here. Like this is a kind of moment. If you fantasy book this match, I mean, I was going to say 3 years ago, but scratch that, 2 years ago. It's an insane match. It's such a strange. It's some Fire Pro shit, right? Eddie Kingston and John Moxley was the Young Bucks. Like, it was wild. They jumped him at the bell. I've actually watched this match twice. It's the only match I've done that for. They jumped him at the bell, and the Bucks were like chicken shits. Obviously, you knew at some point they were going to cut him off, and go to work on Eddie's leg. You knew it'd be Eddie's leg, right? That's they injured that a couple of months back. Eddie, that's bread and butter for him. He's going to do that incredibly well. I got to credit the Bucks again for how restrained they were in the heat segment. Eventually, they started doing some of their cooler shit. But when they were just beating up Eddie, they were like just beating him up. They were punching him, they were kicking him. It wasn't anything elaborate or what. And then this is where the Young Bucks are like, listen, man, I get they're polarizing, and I know that there are elements to their work, even in this match, that you roll your eyes at. Like, sometimes I wish Rick Knox did just say, "Get out of the ring, please. You're in here for hours." But at the same time, man, when the dust settles, like, these dudes are going to leave wrestling with an all-time legacy. I really believe that. And people might not like it. A lot of my pals are not fans. I get it. But, like, their match catalogue is just, incredible, man. I mean, they just don't miss in these big matches. So, they're doing this heat segment, and Kingston is magic in that setting. He's rolling. Hot tag to Mox, and it's like, okay, cool. Then they did a great false finish with the whole, the spray and the tombstone, all that good stuff. And you're like, okay, where are we at now? And then they just doubled and did another heat segment. They did double, they basically did a triple heat segment, because later Moxley teased the hot tag. I swear to God, people can just hyperbole, I don't care. In my time watching wrestling as, like, adult wrestling analyst, whatever the fuck you guys call me, I don't know, watching wrestling with modern crowds, that they react to stuff because they want to, not because they need it. I have not seen a hot tag reacted to with such sincere, thank God Eddie's into kick-ass. It was like watching some 80s wrestling, bro. This is the shit that I miss, and, like, they worked to it, and it was actually real. It wasn't just we cheer because it's supposed to be a hot tag. No, this was like, heart in, we need these guys to win the tag titles. Eddie made a tremendous hot tag. Eddie did a dive, by the way, which I haven't seen him do for a very long time. And it looked great. He was locked in here, and then Eddie run wild. They cut him off. They teased the Moxley hot tag, and then in the end, the story was effectively, and there's two layers to this. We'll talk about the rest of one first, but the end was effectively Moxley was. I mean, he just had the shit kicked out of him, right? He got pile driven on the ramp 15 minutes prior. He'd been hitting the head up, 101 super kicks. The finish at the end with the four knees. It was a finish that was flat. And I don't say that as a criticism, right. Me personally. Now, some people might, and I get it, because it was flat. But to me, it was a good flat in the sense of that's how the Young Bucks needed to win this match as heels. This was not the time for them to hit some sort of spectacular move. They basically just drubbed Moxley, didn't they, until he was out, you know? I thought it was an amazing match. As emotionally invested I've been in wrestling in some time. An absolute, a crown jewel for Kingston, who belonged and then some among three of the top stars for AEW and three of the most critically acclaimed wrestlers. I never had any doubt he would. Jeremy, you know that. But, like, I saw some stuff and people, he belongs at this level in any promotion, but especially in AEW because he's one of the most over guys. Fabulous match. Absolutely lived it. JR is in the chair. You can tell just a near fall up and down. A great tag match. I loved it. Jeremy, I know that you may feel bad if you're about to say you didn't like it or whatever. You can give your opinion. I just wanted to go because I watched it twice and it was just tremendous. Go ahead, my friend.
No, I'm not going to say I didn't like it. I thought it was a tremendous match. Like, I was... You're right in that, like, the finish was flat, but it was a good kind of flat. But I felt disappointed because, like, I was talked into King and Mox winning, Joseph. Like, this was what I was waiting for. I was like, here we go. Big moment for these two. And then they just hit him with four knees and it was over. And I was like, well, that sucked. But it was a good that sucked because I was invested in Eddie and Moxley winning. And then the Bucks win that way. And it was the right way for them to win. Too. Like, you're right. They didn't need to do, a bunch of near falls, hit a spectacular move, like kind of an out of nowhere type of finish deal. Like, it needed to be something like that. And that was great. I love the work in this match. Yeah, the Bucks, look, I've had my gripes with them. I don't think I've been as harsh as a lot of people have because I've always said that, like, their in-ring work, even though it's not for me most of the time, like, man, they're tremendous at this stuff. Like, you go back and watch some of their New Japan stuff and the stories they can tell in some of those matches, and they're working like the same. They worked like the same teams. Like Show and Yo, they worked them a bunch of times. But those matches are like great, and yeah, they're really really good. And in this role, like they are excellent. I love they were doing like WWE stuff as well. Like they're doing like Hogan, Savage, Shield spots. I think when King got the hot tag, they're bumping and feeding like it was a WWE match and everything. Like it had some of those elements to it, which were tremendous as well. Like I thought it was a great match. It was probably my second favorite match on the show.
Right.
Because I like Deeb and Riho a little bit better, it was a little like the double heat segment. Like I would have cut a little bit off, but you know me, I'm like 17-minute time limit on all these matches. Anything over that, and you're just probably gonna lose me. And that's not a criticism of the wrestlers. That's a criticism of I don't like long matches. But overall, I thought it was a tremendous match, and I was disappointed by the ending. I was waiting for big King and Mox moment, and we just got the Bucks. And we did have the interference from Gallows and Anderson, Kazarian. I like that it didn't like lead to the finish or anything. Like they worked a good 7-8 minutes after they had come out. But another distraction deal in this match.
It's interesting that I think after the opener, my take was kind of, oh man, like what do you do after, as you said, a guy kicks out of an F5 off the top rope, you're doing 101 things. I think it was very smart to put out, some of your biggest stars, but not only that, these guys are really good at what they do, and the way that they paced the match allowed the audience to they were with it, but it allowed them to settle down until the real drama came late, which was necessary, because obviously Cage and Hangman 100 miles an hour, and that's what their job was. So that's not, criticism. It's just it was the variety of these AEW pay-per-views when they click is its biggest strength, because you can tell that guys are just having the match they want to have. Like sometimes it's a bad thing, but I think generally it does help when you have the right talent in position. I don't know if I mentioned this. I apologize if not, but if I did, but we shouldn't even say this sort of stuff because it's so inside baseball. But how positive can we be about Jon Moxley? Like, of course he gets pinned here,
Yeah.
Of course, what a fucking guy, that guy. I mean, this is a guy who, and folks, I know you don't need me to tell you this, but he is a guy that legitimately had 7 figures sitting there to be just like Dean Ambrose. And there's nothing wrong with being Dean Ambrose. A mega popular top babyface is a pretty cool role, right? I know he was heel or whatever, but he's a mega star. This stuff is, and this doesn't matter to most people maybe, but as someone that talks about wrestling, it does. This stuff is transformative to how he'll be remembered and his legacy as a professional wrestler. He's one of the great pro wrestlers, and this was to me this was a special moment for him. Even though it's not a big one, because he's done bigger shit than this, it felt special.
I think it was Andrew brought it up on the post show of is there anybody who is just transformed themselves more than Moxley has from who he was in WWE to who he is now. And Phil mentioned Hideo Itami, Kenta, and he wasn't Hideo Itami was just a NXT 205 Live guy, and he was Kenta before that. He was a big deal in Noah, and he made ROH appearances and everything. But man, Moxley is on a different level of what he's done. Anna Karana says yeah, we might talk about Miro in a year. That's very true, but man, Moxley was a top guy in WWE.
Yes.
Miro didn't even Rusev, Miro, he didn't reach that level. He was immediately a top guy in AEW and just has a whole different vibe about him than he did in WWE. It's tremendous. And bless him. I said it on the poster. I was if you're doing an overall wrestling draft, Reigns is probably number 1. Moxley's number 2. And if you want to take Moxley number 1, I ain't even mad at it.
No, I agree. He's magnetic. He's so good, and it was really one of those ones where, but I obviously had fun with it. I really wanted Kingston and Moxley to win here, but when you listen to the audience react that way and you actually get to ride that roller coaster in such a fashion, you don't really feel like much of a loser, Here's what I don't know, Jerry. It's just me. I was just so happy to see it that I just was oh man, I wish they won, but fuck, that was awesome. I can't really rewatch it. That was my genuine reaction.
What do we think of maybe they didn't lose because I think Renee is due early to mid June. I think she said June 11th, maybe. So I would imagine Tony Khan is going to be like, hey, take time off, be a father, and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would not be shocked in the coming weeks we get some type of angle where Moxley's kind of like taken out for a little
Yeah.
bit. But they're back on the road like July 6th, I
Mm.
think. And you got to think he's going to be at that first show back.
Yeah, you would see. I don't know what you do also with Kingston at that point, because like you don't want to bench him, right? Like he's kind of red hot.
I don't
So
think you bench him. I kind of think maybe you do an injury angle with Moxley, and then you just kind of like King is just getting beat up by everybody, and then Moxley like returns, and it's like, all right, now we're back even. Maybe you do the tag team title match on. I What did I pitch? I pitched a title change on Rampage, like on the first episode of Rampage. I
you
pitched
did.
something, or maybe I pitched the first, the Christian and Kenny Omega, which obviously that match isn't happening now on Rampage. But like, I feel like they're gonna come out strong on Rampage. So I know it's not till August, but
Mm.
you hold off and you keep doing. I don't know. Can you stretch Moxley? And I feel like you can stretch it if Moxley's off television for a month.
Right.
There's ways to go, I think.
I have to say, I know they're not going to do this, and they shouldn't, because Hangman is, he's got next, right?
Yeah.
And like the way they book the belts is very, I respect it, but when you say all this stuff, my mind is very much like, fuck. Like you take Mick Foley's iconic title win, you slot Kingston in as Foley, and you have Mox as Austin. And it's like imagine Mox returning and like Kingston somehow like falls in. And I don't want it to be like a lucky deal. You know what I'm saying, right? He's an underdog. Like it would be a kind of just one of those mega. That's one of the great moments. It shouldn't happen, folks. Let me stress again because I get it. I'm making this carry this thing to Hangman, but that's where my mind goes fantasy booking wise. I do think someone mentioned chat. I've lost it, but someone had like Eddie and Omega can do stuff, and I think maybe like they tease that match.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, Kenny's working Jungle Boy in like 2 weeks,
Yeah.
so it's not like it's a long term. In fact, they're not even probably gonna. They'll probably get a promo of build. Maybe Jungle will do a sit down or something, and then they'll just do the match and move on. And that's that's fine. It's just the TV.
Yeah, like that would be it because they only have one Dynamite before.
Yeah.
So I would imagine this week they'll probably do some type of like face to face segment, and then the match is the following week. So
there you go. That was a great match, folks. I remember that we are reviewing Double or Nothing now, and not just just fantasy booking next 6 months, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was great. I loved it. If you haven't seen it, I recommend it. I've watched it a couple of times. Wonderful match. Now, the Casino Battle Royale. These are not really my thing. I think this is the best one they've done, though, Jeremy, in the sense that at no point did I sort of smash my head against the wall in Rage. The finish was great and excellently put together. The right guy went over. It's a Battle Royale. I'm not going to sit here and sort of, fly a flag for it. It was cool. I liked it. But the ending, I think, was worthwhile. And frankly, it was lost on me. Like, oh, man. Jungle Boy getting that moment in front of that crowd with that music over Christian, like, just good shit, man. And the best part about it is, I have no doubt this has been locked in for like the longest too. Like, yeah. I have no doubt because they've been doing this Battle Royal thing so amazing match, not amazing match, but amazing moment. And Christian obviously is the guy you want in that spot, right? Like the placement of it all was perfect. The spot where he swings around the post scared the life out of me because how wrong can that go? I've seen Ray do that and miss so many times. It's hard, but it was great. I love this, the deal where Christian's like hanging on both arms. It's just great drama, and it's a Battle Royale, obviously. Like, what do you want me to say? But it was probably the best one they've done. In that it wasn't like dizzying. It felt like the right guys were featured. Good job. What did you think?
I'm not a fan of this. Any Battle Royale is tough. Like this gimmick where they're coming out in like groups and stuff, and it's not really for me. Christian outworking everybody by taking a nap for a portion of the match after being taken out. Bless him. He's working smarter, not harder. That's how you outwork everybody, folks. I guess they're setting up like Christian and Matt Hardy stuff because I know Matt Hardy cut a promo on him on being the Elite as well. But there were some moments, but really, like people are gonna remember the closing stretch, right? Like they're gonna remember Christian and Jungle Boy, and I don't know why I was surprised at how like the crowd was like against Christian winning this, but man, they were like super into Jungle Boy. You're right that I'm sure this was completely locked in at this point. But yeah, if it wasn't, then they just call an audible. The way Jungle Boy was getting those reactions, and good on Christian coming in and giving Jungle Boy this moment, like putting the guy over and everything. Like Christian, we thought he was gonna win this, right? Like he seemed like the obvious choice to win this, and so when it came down to him and Jungle Boy, it's like, all right, Jungle Boy kind of failed. He gets to near the end of the battle royal again. So what was it? The tag team battle royal. He was near the end, and then Phoenix ended up winning it for the team. But Christian wins, bless him, and it was a good match. Or Jungle Boy wins, Christian put him over, and I thought it was good for what it needed to be. Again, the moment's is what people are gonna matter, and then Lio Rush as the Joker.
Right.
What do you think of that?
Yeah, so just before we get to that, I do want to say, someone pointed out in the chat, I do love that the way they present, like, the card being shown on the screen, they present that shit like the audience cares.
Yeah.
Like, oh, the club, oh, shit, like, they don't know who that is, guys. I don't know why we're zooming in on it like it's something of it, but anyway.
Yeah, it's just
Tony
five
Khan
guys.
It's
just five guys coming out. Right? It's just like, all right, cool. It's Clubs is up next. Awesome. Yes. Like, sure.
It's tremendous. You can tell, like, he's so in on the concept, and he thinks he's so much smarter than it is. Lio Rush, I thought, was a really... So I think it's fair to say, in terms of star power, he's in the tier that, like, we expected, right? Like, we kind of talked about this. Like, someone that you go, oh, that's cool, without going, oh, my God, tell Vince it's over. They're fed dead.
Right.
But I think within that tier, he was a great choice because, firstly, I didn't see one person pick him.
No.
I didn't see any predictions.
No.
And the other thing is, and from what I can gather, Jeremy, he's not signed, right? He's a New Japan guy that's going to do some dates and kind of pop in and out. But let me tell you, man, like, in terms of talent in that tier we're just talking about, I think we all agree that Lio Rush's ceiling is immense. I mean, just incredible in-ring guy with a lot of personality that can talk. They don't grow on trees, especially one of his age. I mean, he's still a young guy. I mean, it's a great pickup, right? I don't know how much you're going to get out of him if he's not a full-time, whatever that even means at this point, a full-time guy. But I thought it was a neat moment, man. It was one that I didn't see coming, but wasn't disappointed with. And it was a new guy, which I think mattered. As much as I agree with the perception that John Silver would have been cool, it's like a fresh face is always best, right? And this was that, so I'm all for it.
Yeah,
what did you think?
I think like I think the consensus picks were Paul White, John Silver, and Nick Gage, right? Like, John Silver would have been fun. Paul White would whatever, and Nick Gage definitely would have been fun. But yeah, I didn't see like anybody picking Lio, so I thought it was a nice little surprise. And people they're gonna be disappointed because they talk themselves into like Danielson or Andrade or somebody like that. Like, look, man, they ain't using those guys for this spot, all right? Like, if you're bringing in one of those two guys or one of these like top names, like, you're not using them for this little Joker Battle Royal gimmick. I think last year kind of set the precedent of what it was, of like, all right, it's Matt Sydal, and I realize it's supposed to be Nick Gage, but last year before the injury, but still, like, Nick Gage isn't like top tier guy. We love Nick Gage, but he's not someone who's gonna be like, oh yeah, this is the future face of the company or anything. Like, so I thought Lio was perfect in this spot. It seems like he's gonna keep doing some stuff with AEW. He's got like a handshake deal, and he might be signed to New Japan, but I like Lio in this spot. And look, dude, if you're going to get some like matches out of Lio, there's so many good matches. You could Tony loves just throwing on like great matches on Dynamite. And, maybe they have a story, maybe they don't, but it's just like, hey, here's Lio and Ray Phoenix for 15 minutes. Go out there and do some stuff. Like, cool, I'm for it.
Yeah, someone mentioned a match with Darby, and it's like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
This is a guy an electric talent. It's going to be interesting how they use him. It will be. I don't think they're going to intend to like beat him a lot, which makes him interesting in those kind of matches, right? Like, it's like a Matt Sydal, and this is not a knock. It's the reality of the situation, right? Like, his role is win matches on dark, and then be used to have a great match in a losing effort, on TV. You know, like that's his role. Leo, I feel like they're not going to beat that way. So it will be interesting what tier of match. Look, he'll lose a couple matches, obviously, but I don't think he's going to be like someone that you never see win on Dynamite, if that makes sense. So it will be interesting. Maybe New Japan don't give a shit. They might not. Why would they? Let's be honest. It's 2021. Does anyone really care? Probably not. So nonetheless, we have 91 people watching this show. 91 people.
Lunatics.
TK is, man, he's rolling. He's even got our show over. Tremendous stuff. Okay, so that was cool. It's 23 minutes for a battle royale is very scary. I'm gonna be honest. I know that's the concept, but like that's a lot. That's a lot.
Like again, I don't like this concept. It sucks.
Yeah, I don't. It's difficult because I know that the ideology I think is, well, you're combining. You know, you got it's like a battle royale, but you have the Royal Rumble element of this surprise, and it's like sort of, but like not really.
It's not because like. You introduce, like, the only surprise is the Joker, right? Because you name everybody else that's in the Battle Royale, so it's like, it's not like, oh, we've only named 20 people, there's 30 spots, and it might just be regular roster guys, but it might be legends and stuff. Like, you've named 20 people, and there's only 21 spots, so really the Joker is the only surprise in the match. Everybody else are just grouped together, and like you said, it's like, all right, cool, the diamonds are up now. Gives a shit. It
is tremendous that they like lure on it, like, oh my god, you know, like, it's great. Here we go, folks. It's time. Everyone, this is where the wrestling podcasters make their money with this next match. This is where you're supposed to get mad and shout at the screen. The Code Man, living in America, Cody Rhodes, the American Dream, Nightmare, Stardust Man,
the Nature Boy
versus, yes, indeed. Sure, yeah. Versus household name here in Britain, and I will not claim otherwise, the Anthony Ogogo. I can confirm, folks, sorry to report, this did not make national news. I did not wake up and put on the news to say Ogogo has been felled at Double or Nothing. He failed to defeat. It did not happen, folks.
You didn't turn on, what's the England equivalent of Sports Center over there?
Probably like Sky Sports News.
Yeah,
probably.
That wasn't the lead story on Sky Sports. Did it make the ticker? Did it make the ticker on Sky Sports?
I don't know. I didn't watch. I'm talking like big, like just general TV news. So maybe it did, folks. People can tell me. But I was watching news. There was no spoilers. You know, there was no spoilers for the Anthony Ogogo. But he is a household name, and he was once on a Subway advert. Now, I've sensed this one. I say this is someone that hasn't like, you know, watched 101 reviews or even read many. I sense this was kind of polarizing. Let me tell you, that's my guess. It's a little bit divisive. Here's where I'm at. There's some good ideas in this match. I like the running theme of every time Ogogo punches Cody, he just falls down. Very fun. I like that. I'm somewhat against just like how much of it felt like Cody just wrestling a match. I thought the people were kind of with them until, and this is my read on it, I haven't watched it back, I never will. Here's what I thought happened. They did that thing where Ogogo hit him in the gut. He was on Strictly Come Dancing, or Dancing with the Stars as they call it. Yeah, the Yanks, Franco. Actually, Dancing with the Stars. Strictly Come Dancing is our show. God damn it.
Anyway, is that? I was like, huh?
Right, so he hits him in the stomach, which has been his finish. They've got this over on TV, and then he throws the uppercut and he drops him, and the people are like, He goes to pin him, and Cody has his hand under the rope, right? And my reaction, genuinely, was, that's pretty clever. You know, like he's out, but his hand has just fallen, and the inexperience for Gogo cost him. Well, unless I am mistaken, and I have read things incorrectly, it appears that the audience at that point said, oh no, Cody is winning, fuck this match. Because then, not a sound was made, and everyone went quiet as like, again, maybe I'm misremembering, it appeared that after that he just like did like 2 minutes of wrestling, and then he hit the vertebrae and pinned him, and it was like, sure, man.
Yeah.
You know, like, okay, let's talk about Gogo first, because it's, for all the jokes I just made, I'm rooting for this guy. I like him a lot. I watched much of his boxing career, and it was a shame how his career ended up. I'm really happy for him. You know, 5 or 6 years ago, I was at a house show, and he was like the special guest, like, enforcer or whatever at a house show, because he loves wrestling. He really does love it. And I'm happy for him. I thought he performed well. However, Cody continues to be a case of a guy with good ideas that is unable to decipher which one's good and which one's bad. And there was a, you know, for example, so look, I don't know who to credit for this stuff. Maybe it's Dean Malenko, I don't know, guys. But I'll go with Cody, okay? He has that figure 4 spot, and Ogogo punches him. And it's like, why even do it if it's not going to be the finish? That would have been such a good finish. Can you imagine how good that would be? He got knocked out while putting on a figure. Great. He does it, and then like the actual finish of the match is him just hitting a move. Just befuddling. I don't know how to react to it, because I said on the show that I don't agree with like the hyperbole about like he can't, if he wins it's just the end. You know, like Go-Go's wrestled 2 matches, like it's fine.
Yeah.
But the way they did it was kind of flat, and like I've said this before, but I find it so interesting that the traditionalist believes like, oh man, like Cody knows what he's doing, but them Young Bucks and Kenny Omega, like they're fucking idiots. And it's like, I'm watching the show and it feels like Cody's in his own promotion, like literally just on his own island. And that's not me fueling rumors. I'm saying like it legitimately, when you watch the show, it's like, okay, even though it's a variety show, the whole show feels like it's like in check with each other, and then Cody's just doing his own thing. And even the people he's working are that way, right? Like he's working his own protege, his own friend. Like QT's a guy you associate with Cody. It's bizarre. He's not a part of the show, and that's okay if he's doing good stuff. I didn't think this was terrible by any means, but I did not think it was particularly good, and that's a real shame considering the rookie performed quite well. You know, he performed well, and by the end of it, my reaction was, oh. I mean, I just rolled my eyes at it. It didn't connect, and it's worth noting. This crowd, like, all sitting on the side. I know some people booed him, but like this crowd mostly was like, yeah, America, right? Like it's wrestling. Yeah. I'm not going to pretend. There's no reason us pretending they were like upset at this stuff. I have to say, as a Brit, I'm not offended. I can give a shit, but it feels very un-AEW to me. You know, it's like some old school wrestling shit that they generally avoid, like very like the patriotism. It's just, I don't know, man. Obviously it's not for me, but it's just, I roll my eyes at it. It feels off out of place on this show. I don't know, Jeremy, where were you at on this one? It was a weird match.
Like you're right, like the crowd was cheering Cody when he came out and everything. The cheer was not what he was getting before the pandemic, though. Like he was like one of the most over guys. He may have been the most over guy in the company before the pandemic. And like I thought his work before that was so good too. Mm-hmm. I praised the hell out of Cody for the work he was doing pre-pandemic. Like I thought the MJF feud was good, the Jericho feud was good, like he was cutting good promos and everything. Like I was really enjoying his work. So he wasn't that over with coming out here. And then even if he was, like, you're right that like once people realized that he was just like winning, it's like, oh shit, like we like him, but he probably shouldn't be winning this match. And I think that says something in regards to the crowd as well. It felt like they were trying to prove that like a Go-Go can wrestle by doing like a 10-11 minute match. It's like, hey, this guy's not just one punch, he has like other moves and stuff. Look at this frog splash and everything, which is like, all right, cool, but I don't think it was the time for that. And I just don't think that this finish was what it was. You know, we pitched the idea of like you do a stoppage finish, he works over the eye, and a Go-Go was like cut over the eye. I think it was the right eye, not the left. But like he was bloodied up around the eye, just like hitting him with the cop killer and pinning him. It's like, okay, Cody's like never used this move before. He's just like, oh, let me do this cool indie move that everyone loves and pin this dude, and that's gonna be it. It's just, man, I just thought this was the wrong match. Like a Go-Go's been wrecking dudes with these punches, and yeah, Cody, he got his arm, it fell under the rope on the one, but then every other time, you know, he got hit with like the uppercut. Like you said, he hit him when he was in the figure four. It's like those punches don't matter. Like it's just the body punch that does. Like he got punched a bunch of times. It just felt like the wrong match. James Ed Smith says he's done the move before. I'm sure he has, but it's not like this is some, and it's cool. Like you don't have to beat everybody with like an established finish or anything, but it just felt so random. Like I don't recall him like doing this move in AEW. And again, maybe he has. That's completely fine. It just felt random, and it. Mm-hmm. I just thought it was the wrong match. I didn't like the finish, and like the layout of it, and it just wasn't for me.
I think that phrase, right, the wrong match, is interesting because so this match went 11 minutes. You said.
Yeah, 10, 11 minutes, something like that.
They had like 5 stories they wanted to tell, and you just got to pick one. You know, you have. I mean, so basically, the start of the match is, here's a go-go, a guy who's a boxer, trying to land a knockout shot, and Cody's the wrestler. Okay, I get that. That's fine.
That's how they started too, and I was like, oh, this is good. Like, here we go.
Simple.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And then some elements of the match were, oh man, a go-go's out of his depth as a wrestler. Okay, that's a different story, but we can ride with that. It's the same thing. We're the same pattern. But then at other times, they had this deal where like Cody would be over at Arn, and it was like, oh man, like he's in so much danger and in so much, like he's an underdog, you know? And then, as you said, they got to this portion where it was like, a go-go then just started wrestling with him. And it's like, sure, but like, do you just do one of these stories? Like, you could have done a match where a go-go lost because he tried to have a pure wrestling match with Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
You know, he was so arrogant. He didn't even throw the punch. He just was trying to wrestle with him, and it cost him. The way they did it was they had all these ideas, and I'm saying they, but a go-go's not, like, you know, bless him, he's not calling shit too much, too much in his career, but it was like they had all these ideas, and they didn't just pick a lane and fill it. Instead, it was like, we'll do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and in the end, the finish was just like, okay, sure. I don't want to dwell on it because I love everything else on the show, basically, and it's like, whatever. I'm not surprised, right? I always said to Jeremy, I thought he was going to win this match. But even still, like, he's got to figure out what he's doing here, because he's very, very much lost my faith in terms of his creative instincts. You know, to me, he's a guy who's overcomplicating things and just turned himself inside out, trying to figure out how to make things elaborate and spectacular. In reality, he needs to get back to just cutting good promos and having good matches, man. You know, enough with the theatrics and such. Anything else on that, Jeremy, before you thankfully move on?
We had more interference stuff with QT Marshall and whatnot in this match. Very necessary. Like, the story in this match, I said it on the main show. I may have said it on this show as well. Like, this story was so unnecessary with what they were trying to do in the first place. So I guess it makes sense that the match was rather unnecessary. The layout of it was as well.
Yeah, it's just he didn't have a clear direction, and I think that's become familiar, unfortunately. Okay. In much simpler news, Miro and Lance Archer kicked the shit out of each other for about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Miro has really started to, you know, fine-tune what this guy is, and it's really very simple.
Dude, he fucking rules.
He's a charismatic guy who looks like a machine, looks like a Bond villain, and he just goes out and kicks the shit out of guys. And he's explosive enough that his offense is like he works like a heel, but his offense is still very much exciting and dynamic. You know, he's incredible. Archer has been a guy now for the longest time. He may not be someone that you look to and go, oh, we're going to get a match of the year out of Lance Archer, but he has been so consistent as a guy that gives you some variety and has killer matches because he works so damn hard, you know, and he has some creative offense. I'm going to be honest, I don't agree with the ideology that, oh man, Lance needs that. Look, I think very highly of Lance Archer, but unless I'm mistaken, Jeremy, and I'll check now via the Googles, Lance is in fact 44 years old.
Yeah, he's old.
I don't think it's a thing of like, you know, let's get Lance Archer. Like, look, man, this is a hell of a role he's giving them. You know, he's a babyface ass kicker, basically, or a tween, or whatever. He's a guy who kicks ass, and he loses the big matches, but you never doubt that he's a bad man. You know, like, it's fine. You know, everyone can be a long term story. In my view, anyway, he's 44 and he's doing a great job. But Miro is the towel here. Let me tell you. And this is an interesting one with the distraction where it's like this had Jake, right? But like in a vacuum, this one was like, I thought it was smart the way they teased Jake doing something, because you kind of suspect he was going to do something to Lance when Lance had his back turned to him. And I like that, but I do agree with you that, like, maybe on this show they could have gone without it because every match had some sort of interference. Like, I get it. It didn't bother me, I have to be honest. But, I mean, it was exactly what I expected. 10 minutes of just hard-hitting stuff. Cyclops, Ben Logan, I get you. Lance has lost the big matches. I understand it. But, you know, some must die so others can live. He actually says everyone
No, everyone dies, yeah.
That was probably not the right wrestler to give that line to. But it's the truth. Like, you can't... Not everyone can be on their own long arc. Like, he's very valuable. I don't think it's a shame, but there you go. Jeremy, I assume you like this? It feels like something you'd enjoy. 10 minutes of just big guys whacking each other. Good stuff.
Noah Ham 9, appreciate the follow. Yeah, this was right up my alley. Joseph, like, this was... dude, I'm all in on this version of Miro. I've listened and read so many interviews But this guy, he did a lot of media this past week. Listen to this, man. I think you said it. Like the video he posted where he's chilling by the pool or whatever, and he's like, I'm the actual monster and everything. Like, dude, this guy's got it figured out. He's fantastic. I saw that quote. It blew up on the Twitter, Joseph, about how AEW is not his home. He's got homes in Nashville, Bulgaria, St. Pete, and LA. AEW is just a place where he goes to murder people, and then he goes home to spend his money. TK is not his boss, his business partner. I'm all in on this Miro, Joseph. He threw the snake. He just fucking tossed that. Fuck snakes. Yeah, Miro rules. It was a great match.
Yeah, he's tremendous. He's such a great example for them to have moving forward when guys come into the territory of like, listen, man, we're going to give you enough room to sink or swim, You might go a little underwater sometimes. You will be there waiting for you when you come back out. Like, I think as someone in wrestling media, I try very hard not to be... Look, I have to be cynical, right? I mean, wrestling is, in fact, filth. We all understand this. Yeah. But Miro is another great tick in the box for AEW of a guy that they just was like... They just let him be, right? Like, we didn't love the creative initially. And by the way, I'm not retroactively saying it was good. I didn't like it. I did not like the stuff with Chris Sabin. I don't agree with it. I'm not going to go back and go, actually, it was brilliant. I'm not doing that. However, it's a credit to AEW that, in reality, like, looking back, not saying it's better, but what I'm saying is it did give him a chance to just, like, get comfortable, right? And now it's like, as you just said, that he knows who he is now. He's completely figured out this is who the AEW version of himself is. He's ready to go as a top guy. In fact, because I don't think he's going to be in the world title scene anytime soon, because I think that's kind of locked up, I think he could have this belt for a very, very long time. I could see him being champ for like a year. I think this is going to be a serious run. So there is that. Anything else this one? I feel like I'm going to upset you with my next takes. So anything else before we get into the Britt Baker match?
Oh no, Joseph. You're going to bury the goat?
I'm going to bury.
Bury the goat? Nothing else on Miro and Lance. Like, I think Andrew said it last night on the show. Like, get ready for Cody to overcome big foreign heel Miro to take the title for America.
Dude, Andrew should get his license revoked for even saying that shit on air. That's vile. Okay, so we're at Britt Baker and Hikaru Shida, and I'm really torn on this because I think this show, the standard it set, made it really hard for these women. But I've got to be honest, because it's my job. I think this was a little bit of a reminder of where Britt's at and that she has a way to go. And I mean that with love. I think the world of her. She's already come a very, very long way. But, this week was very much about her progress, right? It was very, very much about, like, her climb, and to me anyway, and maybe I'm being unfair, folks, but to me, this match was like, oh yeah, like Britt's got a ways to go, bell to bell. Like I thought the work here was kind of loose. I thought they looked a little bit like they were struggling to lock in and figure out where they were going with it. It got better. But it wasn't like an authentic, oh, this has really got good. It was more just, they just did so many false finishes then that you had to be biting on them, because they were just doing so much. They had Rebel doing all that shit, and that to me was the first distraction thing where I was just like, I don't know, bro. Like, that just I feel like, bless Rebel. I feel like it's time to just like move on from that character. It's great, but you're trying to make Britt like a megastar, and it's just too wacky for me. But I want to stress, I'm not saying this was a bad match because it wasn't. But when you're on this show is basically an all-star pay-per-view, right? I thought it was really obvious that their work was loose, and it wasn't just Britt. Shida, there was a segment where Shida was in throwing punches. They were the shits. What was going on? I don't know what happened. And I think, in fairness to Shida, I think Britt may have been rocked. I think she may have been hurt in there. Shida was pulling back. The strikes were really loose. The combination wrestling wasn't there. They willed it into it. They worked so hard. They willed it into being dramatic, and I'm for it. And it was a fine match, maybe even a good match. I haven't got a problem with that. But I have to say, I thought it fell short of my expectations, which in hindsight, I think I may have been a little bit asking a bit much. Britt has a ways to go, and there's nothing wrong with her. There's no shame in it. She's a star, man. She's over. The crowd loves her. As a pure in-ring bell, though, just one of those ones where you kind of rein things in a little bit, like we all were excited. We were all talking about her as the face of the company. This was a chance, I think, we all just go, okay, let's just see how she goes as champ, because it's going to be a challenge, because not everyone's as good as Sheeta. And this I didn't think was particularly great. It was a fine match. I liked it. I didn't love it. Jeremy, where were you at on this thing?
I thought their match, when Britt got her nose busted and everything was better than this one. They've had better matches, and again, they've had better matches together than this one.
Right.
I enjoyed it. I was more caught up in the moment than the work, because I was happy for Britt, and to get the title win and everything. It was the right time to get the title onto her. So I was more excited about that than the actual match itself. But yeah, I'm with you. It wasn't the greatest match of all time here, and I had talked myself into it being probably better than it was going to be. And this is not a knock on Sheeta and Britt, but like, you look up and down this card and it's like, yeah, Sheeta and Britt are good, but there's also just like a lot of great matches on this card, and so it's tough to stand out with that. Like, you really gotta exceed a high level, and they just didn't do it. But I still enjoyed it. Again, though, this like distraction stuff and everything, that's another element that just like took me out of it, man. Like, I don't need Rebel. Like, the crutch shot, they're always so weak, right? Like, I feel like
man,
every single one of them looks so weak, and like it was right in front of the ref too. Like, it's just it's unnecessary stuff.
And I also think this match had like, the build for this match was kind of big fight feel. It was like a top contender versus champion, and that stuff makes it just feel like such like overly pro wrestling. Like it just doesn't fit. I don't think. I don't know. I think it's hard, because I think Rebel's been good in the role, but I also think not every role needs to be around forever.
Yeah.
It's been a year probably of this character. Like, it's cool. I don't know, Jeremy. I don't want to be critical of it, like it wasn't bad. I think what you just said, like I touched on earlier, it's a high standard, and I think they fell short of it. I think, in fairness to them, you are correct, and you're right to point out they've had better matches against each other before, and I think there's a very good chance that I think they were just a little bit nervous, to be honest, because Britt since Britt came back from injury, her stuff's been a lot more snug and tight. Here it was like fucking loose, like it was, strikes were kind of was all over the place. It just wasn't the same caliber of work to me. But I get why, if you watching it, if you were as invested in this as I was in, not you specifically, I mean generally, but as I was in the tag match, I get why. Like, who cares about that stuff, right? You're living and dying with every near fall. It was dramatic, so. It was a good match. I think I thought it'd be great, and maybe that was my mistake.
We got the nice embrace between Britt and Tony, the top of the ring.
Tony, what is there left to say about Tony, bro? I mean, he's like the mascot of AEW, dude. How cool! What an awesome story. Okay, so I think at this point, I think this show started incredible, has kind of not plateaued, but it's like steady now. It's not like, oh my god, this is historic. It's kind of, to me, it's dipped a little bit, and there's nothing wrong with that. However, and this may be where I upset people and get really carried away. This next match with Sting, so much so I'm actually going to tweet a link to review this thing. Here we go. I'm going to get this out on Twitter, folks. I want some Sting stands to show up. This was one of the most joyous occasions I have experienced as a wrestling fan in some time, and I do not know, Jeremy. I sincerely do not know if anyone else likes this match as much as I did.
Dude, I think everyone
here we go.
I feel like everyone loves this match.
Okay, so I don't even have to check myself. I can just run wild. Okay, cool, bro. I came into this thing. There you go. I like that, because I can't even see that. I'm like, I just see you pick it up and point it towards the sky. The Twitch thing. Thank you, my friend. Look. I came into this thing somewhat concerned about Sting's health. Not in the sort of, I have a wrestling Twitter account and pretend that every dangerous move should be a crime, but in the way of just like, I really like Sting. I hope he's okay. I read the story he did on Fight. You did. I think maybe you got the quote, Jerry, but there was a story on Fightful about him still feeling the effects of Brian Cage's powerbomb.
Yeah.
Which I hope he was working with, because that sounds very bad. And I was, I just didn't expect a lot from him. And then, that sequence, right? He takes a suplex on the ramp. He gets up. He takes his long sleeve shirt off. He's dressed like Dan Stang. He does a dive. And I was just like, man, what a wonderful occasion this is. How cool is it? Like what a reminder of what Sting means to the business. It's so awesome he's getting this little chapter, extension to his career, where he's treated like the icon he is. But then it's also like, okay, let's move away from Sting. Look at what these other guys are giving us here. JJ just cheered 10 bits. Will not be singing Sting's old theme, but I saw a clip of Jeremy singing it, and I was in awe of Phil and Andrew's response, which was tremendous. I have to say, while I'm happy for Sting, and I was also equally delighted for Ethan Page. And my mind was racing back to watching Egos Amigos with King back in the day, like a couple of years back, and them two dudes sort of sit there and talk about how shitty wrestling is, and it's like, man, things worked out okay for those guys. It's really, really cool, and he's in there with Sting, and boy did he belong. Him and Darby is such an awesome dynamic. Holy shit, is it great? Like, it's just perfect, right? Like, he's like this kind of big jock dickhead who just bullies Darby, and Darby won't have it. It's awesome. You had the spot, someone mentioned it, where he flung him into the into the crowd, which is one of the fucking coolest spots.
So good.
Incredible. It's so good, man. And like, I also love that they did the spot later where both Scorpio and Sting had submissions. So it was just like Ethan and Darby just like slapping each other, Yeah. Like, it's like these guys are just made to fight. It was so great. I don't know what you do with Sting long term, and frankly, I couldn't give a shit because we got this moment. And I think for those of us that care about Sting, this was worth its weight in gold. This was special, I think. And we joke about it a lot, but to have Shivani there, to even have JR there, man, like, it's pretty cool. And the fact that it gives a shine, and by the way, the finish was awesome in this match too.
Yeah,
that looked so cool. It looked great. Sting's energy was there. And this is where, to me, I really latched onto what the secret ingredient in this promotion is. And it will be this, when it's no longer this way, you will see AEW's biggest asset go. What I'm about to say is not a knock at any other promotion. It's just a simple observation. I think everyone could agree. Listen, man, these guys really want this shit to work. Can you feel it, Jeremy? There is a palpable desperation in the AEW roster. Like, every guy wants to kill it, right? And when you see Sting working with this level of emotion, energy, and joy, you realise that even Sting at 61, who's been in every major promotion, in every major arena, even he was like, I'm here to have the best match of the night. I'm here to make sure that I do right by this brand that I'm now on. That's their secret, special ingredient. That's the biggest asset they have. These guys care. I thought it was great. I really did. I also loved like just how Scorpio sold for Sting the whole way. Like, he was just kind of shook by his presence, and it made the finish even better. What a cool match. What a great usage of a legend, and a reminder of something that I spoke about a long, long time ago when the last ride happened. Listen, man, you don't have to be having 30-minute classics to still be living it, You can go out there and have a tag match and protect yourself, do a couple cool things, roll back the years, and people love it. We want to see guys, legends out there, being treated like legends. Really cool moment. God bless the Stanger. Jeremy, this feels like it was right up your street. I'm glad to know I was not alone in loving this. It was great, right?
Sorry, I'm working on a Molly Holly. She's getting a tryout as a WWE producer. Dude, I love this match. I love the start of it, with Sting taking the suplex on the ramp and just like popping back up and firing up and everything. Yeah, he took the shirt off, like he was good to go. Like, this is how you use these guys, right? Like, Sting, he obviously ain't going out there to have 15-minute singles match or shit, even like a 10-minute singles match or anything. But use him in these tag matches. You let him have the spots. He still got some lift on the Stinger Splash. He was throwing his punches. He was throwing his chops and everything. Dude, the finish was so good. Sky going for the slingshot cutter, Sting holding onto the rope, setting the death drop and everything. And like the story of like Sting and Darby, still like Sting looking at him like that's his son, like trying to protect him and everything. Be like, nah, like we're good. And Darby's like, I got to keep going and everything. Like, it's a good use of Sting. And yeah, you're right about, Sting talked about it in interviews leading up to this. He's like, it's just such a positive company. Like, everyone's just trying to succeed and trying to make everybody better and stuff. And you could tell Sting just wants to go out there and he wants to do his best for these guys, especially Darby. Darby speaks so highly of Sting. And it seems weird, right? I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Like, Darby and Sting, you would think like, okay, yeah, on screen, sure, I see how like they kind of they mesh with their characters and stuff, but Darby's like just kind of It doesn't seem like he'd mesh well with Sting like off screen, but it seems like they get along great and are always bouncing ideas off each other and stuff. And Sting, you can tell, like, is really invested in Darby and his future and everything. He just wants to go out there and do his best for him to lift him up and elevate him. And I think he has. Like, we joke about, all right, do we need these Sting run-ins all the time and everything? Does he need to be on every Dynamite? But dude, they see Darby as a legit star. They main evented a lot of Dynamites with him in that TNT title. And I think you're kidding yourselves. Like, Darby's performances were great, but I think, being attached to Sting kind of, gives him a little extra cachet there.
I 100% agree, man. You have so much great young talent on this roster. But to the guy that's just started watching AEW, Darby's the one that has Sting in his corner. And that means something, man. It does. It means that. And I think, in fear of being overly sentimental, I do think it's like Sting's that guy. Like, no one has a bad word to say about Sting. It's just fucking Sting, man. Everyone loves Sting. He's a mascot. He's an ambassador for the company because he represents what they want to be, which is the alternative. That's what he represents. He's a symbol. It's awesome. It really does make me happy in like almost embarrassing levels of just like wholesome joy. It really is cool. It's very neat. Speaking of things that were fun, I think did they announce Mark Henry now?
No, he was after the title match, the world title match.
Okay.
I mean, we can go ahead and talk about it. Like, who gives a shit?
Listen, pal. I mean, I'm a professional, but if you would like to talk about Mark Henry, we'll do it.
No, I didn't say like we were gonna talk about it in depth, but we could just mention here's Mark
Let's talk
Henry.
about it in depth. Let's talk about Mark Henry. What's your top 25 Mark Henry matches?
I like the match against Jerry Lawler. That was great.
Good job.
He had a great match against D'Lo Brown before the Nation was formed. Great feud with Ryback. Do you remember that one, Joseph? I don't actually know if that happened.
Yeah, that's one. For everything you just said, I do want to say though, have you seen this meme, Jeremy, that's knocking about where it's like
Orton?
WWE legends with Orton.
Yeah.
Listen, man. Listen.
Drew to AEW confirmed?
I don't know if Alexa Bliss counts as a legend yet, but like, I'm riding this wave. I'm going to DM Tony.
Bray to AEW confirmed?
Yeah, I like the first one of those better than that one. That's not so good. Look, here's the thing with Mark Henry. I don't know how good of an analyst he'll be. I've got a pretty good idea. But as a scout, his record speaks for itself. And he's another guy that's just beloved, right? Yeah. Mark's beloved. He's probably, if we're being honest, going to be more useful than Paul White, which rules because they announced Paul White 2 months ago or 3 months ago. So, yes, Mark Henry's here. There's nothing else to talk about him with, right? He's cool. We like Mark Henry.
Yeah.
World's strongest man. Okay. The world title match, the Kenneth Omega, the Orange Cassidy, and the Pac. This was not a match, I spoke about this often, this was not a match that I was pumped for in terms of who's going to win, the narrative, the story, the emotional connection. But, like, I never doubted this match would kill it, right? I always knew this match would be great, and fuck, they sure did that. They killed it. I don't know what everyone else thought, guys, but this match was a tremendous experience. I thought it was electric. Orange in front of a crowd hits different. We all knew that, but, like, it was a reminder. Pac is just... Man. Pac's something else. He's so explosive. Even the way he sells punches is explosive. Like, everything he does is so sharp and snappy. And then I'll do again what I did with when we reviewed that Impact pay Rebellion. Like, listen, man. You can do whatever you want with Kenny Omega. You can call him a dog. You can call him lame. You can poke fun at his facial expressions. If you tell me you think he sucks, bell to bell, I think you got to rein it in a little bit. Like, this dude is a fucking beast. He can do anything in ring. He's tremendous in this match. Everyone was tremendous. I don't even like triple threats, but it was so exciting, and everyone was always involved. And Orange is such a master of this character, and he knows it so well. It was just a cool match with 3 really creative, tremendous performers. I think this had a case as match of the night, Drew. I'm going to be honest with you. I thought it was spectacular. The only problem for me is I just don't know how you do, like, what do you do with Orange eventually? It feels like he has to win it eventually. Like, I don't know. Maybe he does. Like, he's so over, right? It's hard, but I loved the match. What did you think?
I really enjoyed the match as well. With Orange, a lot of people in our chat last night was saying, like, man, he's got to be champion at some point. Maybe not a world champion,
Yeah.
but like put the TNT title on him. There's you could team him with Chuck or Trent. If they do the trios titles, obviously easy call there to do them as the trios team. To me, like he's just a guy that just like doesn't need the title. He's still tough to book. We talked about this at the Jericho feud. Is like he can still be tough to book because he rides the high of the Jericho feud, right? And then it's like, all right, he's doing like wedding stuff with Miro, and he's just kind of there and whatnot. And then he gets like re-elevated to do this Omega feud. He's just a guy that's just like he's always gonna be over, right? Like no matter what, he's gonna be over. I don't feel like he needs the belt. I do think like putting the TNT title on him at some point. I don't know if it needs to be soon because like I think Miro should get a good run with it. But like putting the TNT title on this dude and just having him be like, what's TNT? Like I'm the face of this. Like what does this mean? Like and get him out there and to do like, I don't know if there's talk shows on TNT or anything, but doing some of that stuff, it'll go viral, right? Like. You put him on a talk show with the TNT title, and he's just like, sure, just being Orange Cassidy on this stuff. Like, there you go. Cracker Jack says Orange Cassidy on Inside the NBA. And he's probably got more knowledge about Barkley than on a lot of these games, so could work. Yeah, it'd be great. I don't know if that's where they're gonna go, but he's great. Pac is fantastic. He's so fucking good. No Enzo Amore, but like he's really good. And Joseph, because they're like, oh yeah, let's build the division around this guy instead of this guy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, a cruiserweight take, deep cut. I didn't know. I had no idea. No, I don't even think of him as Neville. Like, some runs get lost in history. That one has for me. Like I just like, yeah, he did this stuff in WWE, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's spectacular.
Yeah, and Kenny, I mean. You say what you will about it. Didn't use enough V triggers in this match, honestly. Like I didn't feel like there was. Am I mistaken?
Oh, he was hitting Orange Cassidy like 12 of them in a row. He was kicking the shit out of him.
I wanted more.
He didn't do them for the first like 2/3 of the match.
Yeah, I love the V trigger.
It does rule, bro. There was one where he did it and Orange was like full arm up like he's fighting Iron Mike Tyson in 1986, and I was like, I'm with it, bro. That go, he nails you with that thing.
It's such a good move. I give him shit, but yeah, it's such a sweet looking move. He throws it with such conviction and everything too. Like it's so good. The one thing I didn't like, and I will harp on this, is like this is another like it made sense. The Don Callis interference, like Omega taking out the referee and everything. I did love Callis just like tossing the belts to Omega as Omega's like, all right, let me hit you with this one. I'm going to hit you with this one. And then now this one, and this one. Like, I did like that. But again, like, I think that shit just, like, loses luster if you're going to do this in every single match. Like, in this match, it made sense, right? But just don't do it in literally every single match except for one before all of this. And that way it just has more impact on it. But otherwise, I enjoyed this match. It was good.
No, I agree with that point. A couple people in the chat mentioned Don doing the shit, which was great. I think you're 100% correct in that it definitely worked here because, like, when Don pulled the ref, he got like actual heat. People were like, "Oh man, they wanted Orange to win bad."
Yeah,
it worked. I thought the belt, while I like the idea, it was probably a little extended, probably a little bit prolonged in a fashion it didn't need to be. One of my favourite spots in the match was when Kenny just couldn't stop Pac from putting that submission on and just took the ref out instead.
Yeah.
Like, how much of a badass did that make Pac look, bro? Like, he's kicking Pac in the face, but he's like, I'm gonna strangle him. Okay, you're gonna have to do something else because I'm not gonna. I don't agree. Like JJ said, it's heat towards the company and not performers. I don't agree, man. Because they were saying "fuck you, Don," right?
Yeah. I
feel like it was hot. People wanted Orange to beat Kenny, I feel.
Yeah, I don't feel like this was any type of like go away heat or oh no, this bullshit is happening.
I agree. That's my thing. I agree. Like, the Elite guys are kind of like, as heels, they've kind of done it. They've done the thing that people thought they couldn't do. They're actual heels.
Yeah.
Like, no one really I mean, Kenny gets cheered because he's Kenny. But, like, no one really wanted those guys to win their matches. Credit to them, man. They're committed. These guys are dogs. It's like, yeah, almost like they're in on the joke, right? It should be noted. I've said this before, I'll say it again. There'll be a day, maybe it'll be a long time away, maybe it'll be sooner, where, like, all of these takes we hear about Kenny in opposition to him, even ones you and I have said, will be like erased from the wrestling chat. Like when it all is said and done, in the same way the Young Bucks, like people will talk about Kenny Omega as one of the absolute premier professional wrestlers ever. And frankly, when you stop and watch him in a setting like this among two other great workers, you say, yeah, it's probably fair. Because he is incredible. Okay, near fall with Orange, yeah. I mean, Orange is so damn good at that. Like, just the way he executes stuff, the false finishes are always electric with Orange. He's just a great character, and he knows the character. We finished the deal with the Stadium Stampede. Which I thought, I mean, everyone that knows my take and taste on these things, this is not my thing, but I thought it was pretty fun. I think it was a smart idea to lock on to like one-on-one pairings, because without the comedy set pieces, you needed to let guys just brawl basically. Like you just kind of had to. I think it worked. Obviously, there was a couple of wacky moments where you laugh. Like the big pop was Tully and FTR drinking. Right, that was a great moment. You have little Conan, but I think there's a lot of nods and a lot of cool little,
Did you like Urban Meyer and Charlie Strong, Joseph?
I had no idea it was memoir. I had no idea. The crowd reacted though, and I said to the powers, I was like, "This man, I think like that's like a football guy or something." I don't know. It was done well though, right? Like if you knew and cared, I guess that was pretty awesome.
That was the head coach of the Jaguars. The team Tony Khan runs, and the assistant coach as well.
My God.
Yeah, it was done very well though. It was.
I don't want to seem flimsy with my opinion on this, but like my take was just like, it was more fun than I thought it would be. It was cool, and I also liked that it was about Sammy in the end.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, and this is the big problem, okay, and like I do not disagree with the power in the chat. There's a couple bit in the chat that like I've seen to our Inner Circle, and look, I'm with it. Okay, do I like the Inner Circle? Fuck no. Okay, like I like 3 of the guys in the Inner Circle, and Jericho's a legend, but like their whole vibe is just not my thing. It's very like, to quote, it's just try hard motorbike. I get it, I'm with it, but like it is one of those situations where like, we have got to be realistic about it, and like the audience fucking loves this act, dude. And like when it ended, and the crowd is all singing the song. You and I can roll our eyes. You and I can think about how dorky it is, but like, it was pretty cool. If we're being honest,
the song's
we turn our
over.
brains off.
I mean, like,
yeah, like, and the moment of it being kind of the end of the first show about a full crowd, it did fit to me.
Yeah.
I don't know if they were going for this, but I really like. In fact, I'm almost certain they weren't, but I really like the element of like the match started in an empty building and worked to a full arena. Like it was like a metaphor, Jeremy Lambert, like a symbol of the progress we'd made. Layers. Effectively, it was 30 minutes of guys doing like fun brawling. There was some cool creativity, but it weren't like anything elaborate, right?
There wasn't a ref in some of these segments. Like, what happened if somebody just got a pinfall and the match ended while other people are still fighting? I like that. Who tried? Wardlow tried to stab Hager, or was it the other way around?
Wardlow tried to stab, and he got like just suplexed.
Yeah.
Which is normally what you do when someone tries to stab you, right? You just suplex on a bunch of cardboard boxes.
Yeah. It was weird. Like it was broken down into segments, and I get like that's kind of how you have to do this kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I understand that. I thought it was good. I liked last year's a little bit more because it was a little bit more like campy and everything, and I think that kind of fits this a little. That element more. And then like the other weird thing is like Jericho and MJF are like brawling in the balcony, and then they hit like one table spot, and then I guess they were just like both done for the entire match.
I think the idea was, I agree with you, and it made the Sammy finish come across like, that no one else is back. But I do think what they were going for was like that was the end of Jericho. Like that was his redemption when he powerbombed him through that table. And I guess he just didn't make it. I guess that's the idea. He didn't make it to the ring. Like, because I mean, he was high up, so I get it. He's old. He's the Chris Jericho. His arm was fucked up. It did feel off. I agree with you because you're waiting for everyone else to show up. But broad strokes, I think we both feel it was the right choice to have Sammy spotlight that way. So you kind of, you take the hit in that regard. I have to say, Jeremy, I'm ashamed to admit this because I watch Dynamite every week, but I don't think I realise what Sean Spears was going for with the chairman stuff. Like, he appears to be playing some sort of like lunatic, some sort of psycho character. Did you know Sean Spears was playing like an unhinged, deranged person? Because I had no idea.
Yeah.
No clue.
When he's at the restaurant and he's like, I need my wine. He's like smashing.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah, like
I have to stress this, Jeremy. Like, you're right. And when that was reminded out, I was like, yes, he's been going for. I had no idea.
Yeah.
But he was. I thought he was good here, man.
Kinda...
I think he's like so just. He's fine.
Yeah,
and people talk about him like he's the shittest wrestler ever. And it's like, man, you guys are. You should watch some 1993 WCW. That guy would have been the mechanic on the show, TV champ or some shit. But,
yeah, he's fine for sure. I like, Sammy gets the kind of redemption and everything because he was the one that gave up at Blood and Guts. Here's like sort of my issue with it is it's like, all right, Pinnacle won Blood and Guts, right? And then Inner Circle, where they could have broken up here, won Stadium Stampede. It's like, is it just over now? Like, what's next for this? I feel like they're building towards a Jericho MJF match, and I don't know what stipulation you attach to that if you're going to attach any stipulation to it, but I was like, all right, they're like 1-1 in these big kind of matches here. The stipulation that you thought may have happened of Inner Circle being split didn't happen. It's like, where do you go from here?
Yeah, it's in terms of like the actual storytelling, it's all out of place and just like disjointed and weird. I don't think you can go back to just having a normal wrestling match with those two guys, but then like as you said, what sort of stip are you going to do to top Blood and Guts? And I don't know. To be honest, I don't know. And like my honest reaction is, I hope there's nothing more because I'm just kind of cool with ending there. What the hell you do with the Inner Circle as baby faces away from the Pinnacle? No clue. Like absolutely no idea. Someone mentioned in the chat earlier, this is an hour ago now, but someone was like, FTR could be the ones, or the Pinnacle could be the ones that take out Moxley, and I thought, that works. So I can see where you can pivot them and spin them in many different ways. What do we think the Inner Circle do?
So I thought, and this is a very quick thought that went through my head, and I think it was the right call not to do it, of like there was going to be a turn on Sammy to close the show, because I don't know. I thought like maybe they wanted to do something like captivating at the end of the show as like a hook to get everything into it. And it's like maybe you could have done, like Hager and Jericho kind of doing that turn. Santana Ortiz being like, hey, what the fuck? Like, what's going on here? And that's a way to get them away from all that after you do the feud. And then you turn Sammy into a bigger babyface. Because like Jericho and Hager just as babyfaces, I'm not really the crowd. The AEW crowd's gonna they'll be fine. At least with the Jericho part, it'll be fine. But I'm not like super buying them. I don't really buy them like the group itself as babyfaces. Pulowski pointed this out on Dynamite, where they did the Inner Circle celebration and like kicking the shit out of all these people you like and everything. It's like, hey, celebrate us. Like, we're baby faces. We're good guys as we beat the shit out of like all these people you love and whatnot. It's like, I don't really like you guys. You guys are so like dicks and stuff. Yeah. And I realize they've done a little bit of a turn, but like, why are we celebrating this stuff? It's just kind of weird.
No, I get you. It's one of those things where when you actually like look at what they've done, it's hard to argue with what you said, because really Jericho says they've changed, but all that's really happened is like they just got screwed over by MJF, right?
Yeah,
like
that's,
it's not like
that's it. Like,
yeah,
you just got screwed over by a bigger dick.
Right.
It's Bailey and Bianca, or Bailey and Sasha all over again.
Let's not talk about dicks or that feud because both will get us in trouble. I think JJ mentioned Santana and Ortiz in the title picture. I do think there's a chance they do the Elite versus the Inner Circle again with the roles reversed. Like you got the Super Elite is now 5 guys, right?
Yeah, Bucks,
Gallows,
Omega, Gallows, Anderson, yeah.
And I mean, look, I think talk about TV main events. I think Jericho and Kenny as a TV main event is good business. Like, I don't think it's a pay-per-view main event. I don't think they'll do it as one, but I mean, it's a smart choice for a Dynamite. Like, it'd be fine, right? You could do that. They've got history there. Good point. I'm Cracker just said his arm. I don't know what's to do with Jericho. I don't know.
He's supposed to be out. I mean, he's had it. Shit, hold on. I'll double check how long he's technically supposed to be out. It was supposed to be 4 to 6 weeks, so like, that's
Right.
not. And that was May 14th. So yeah, it feels like, assuming. I mean, I don't know how much he's set back
Mhm.
his injury by wrestling this type of match and everything, but let's say he's cleared enough by the beginning of July. You can keep him out of the ring for that long. I think he's gonna be the one of the announcers on Rampage though. Like, I'm pretty
See,
sure.
that's interesting because I agree because he said months ago that was what he was like. I'm going to do the other show,
Yeah,
and obviously Tony Khan said like we're going to have a big star
yeah,
do it, right? Because my mind was going to you talk about Rampage first main event, like that'd be a pretty good shout, right? Jarrett, I mean that's their first main event they ever did with Double Eight. I don't know. I mean the thing they're kind of blessed in the sense that their roster is such they can kind of draw names out of the hat, right? Like
yeah.
that, you can have great matches. Whether it's a big attraction, I don't know, but I don't know if like Jericho's one at that point. So we'll see. They have my faith in that regard. I liked the match. Did I love it? No. Will I ever watch it again? Almost certainly not. But I liked it. Anytime Dex Harwood starts brawling with guys and Cash is throwing bottles and shit, like it's cool, man. It's neat. He's going on tour soon. Oh, there you go. Is he actually going on tour though? Or is he doing the thing where it's like he just doesn't do Wednesday shows? Because he did that before, right? Where
Yeah, let me look at the Fozzy tour schedule here.
delete that from your internet history immediately after you're done typing it, okay? Um, while we get this information, it is important information. There you go. We rock all night. So he plays no Wednesday shows.
Oh, there you go. I don't even have to look it up. Only the first
Just
show. Yeah.
he has said regularly that like that's not a thing he's doing in AEW, right? Like I remember he said it maybe not regularly, but a long time ago he was like, "No, we're not. I'm going to be on the show. I'm just also going to tour." I'm sure that would be great for his health. Um, Six is getting the sweep, Joe. Look.
I told you. Told you.
I don't want to be arrogant, but like it barely matters at this point, right? I
Yeah.
mean, it's like either they get a game tonight, you beat them in Philly, or you just beat them tonight. They're a fucking terrible basketball team, man. They're so bad.
I told you they were gonna sweep.
And the thing is, they're not even like I don't know. It might have been a pal in the chat, and if so, I apologise for naming your tweet here. But like I said about how bad they are, and someone was like, they're only a 2-man show, and I'm thinking, like they're really good players though. You know, like they shouldn't be this bad. Like, because most of it's defense. They're terrible.
They're terrible defensively.
And they don't even have like. Look, not every team can have given Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. I get it, right? I understand. I'm lucky in that regard. But there's not even any effort. Like you don't even feel like you're playing playoff basketball. They're just like open looks all around. Seth Curry's getting treated like he's a non-shooter. Like they're just not a good team.
Dude, I mean, I am Cracker Jack says it's Scott Brooks basketball, baby.
Yeah.
The famous, very famous Scott Brooks quote from his days as a member of the Oklahoma City Thunder of, I want guys to take the 3-point shot because it's the longest range shot. So he basically is saying, like, I'll concede just a wide open 3 because it's a long range shot instead of giving up like a contested 2. It's dumb. Like, yeah, Joseph. This is the Scott Brooks philosophy, baby. Like, dude, the OKC, like those teams, they gave up so many uncontested threes because it was just like it's the longest shot. It's got the least percentage to go in, and 3-point shooting has improved. Like, it was already like good then. Like, it's improved so much. Like, these guys have improved so much since then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Joe Ben references here, but like the craziest part is they're not even doubling Embiid and like leaving an open shooter. They're just not guarding anyone.
Yeah,
they're not guarding anyone.
Anybody.
It's actually diabolical. And their offense, I mean, look, you know about Scott Brooks. Like their offense has no rhythm. It's literally just Rush dribbles it up and like decides what he's going to do.
Right.
Or Bill runs an ISO and scores.
Right.
It's
Yeah, that's the Scott Brooks offense
mm-hmm.
right there. And defensively, Brooks, again, philosophy is like you just guard your position. Like, I'm not gonna send a double, I'm not gonna switch. Like, you just always guard your position. Doesn't matter what. Like, just whoever's out there, you just guard them. And it doesn't work. It doesn't work.
It doesn't. Back to double or nothing to conclude the show. I'll be honest with you guys, and perhaps I was in a good mood. But this is a show that I'll remember fondly for some time. I loved this show. It's one of my... honestly, Jeremy Lambert, one of my all-time favorite professional wrestling shows. I'm saying it already. I don't give a shit. I don't really like. I'm not the guy that can tell you what was on Backlash '04. You know, I don't think there's any chance I forget this show because what it represented for me was so epic in the sense of like, in so many occasions to me, this was like idealistic AEW. You know, new stars being over, guys getting their due, hot crowd. After all, we've and look. Should there be a full crowd? Fuck, do I know, guys? I don't know at this point. I've been reviewing wrestling in a pandemic for 18 months. Leave me be. It's just to me it was a special show, and I loved the triple threat. I loved the tag title match. The only thing I'd like actively was like down on was the Cody match. I still like Britt and Shida. I just thought it was a special show. I really did. I loved it. Jeremy, I look, obviously I don't expect you to be as high as I was, but like really good show, right? The Double or the Nothing.
Joseph, I thought it was a tremendous show, quite possibly AEW's best show ever. Top to bottom, their lineup at the start was great. Having crowds back, the energy from the crowds was great. It was great to see the media in attendance as well. Everybody was welcome to Daly's Place, the open air. Crowd is very lively. A lot of new stars created, a lot of stars coming through. They brought in, Mark Henry, Christian Cage, Jungle Boy getting over, Kenny Omega, the Elite solidifying themselves as the top guys in the company. Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston proving their value to the company. The Young Bucks proving once again why they are one of the best tag teams, and not only in AEW, Joseph, but maybe in the history of wrestling. Britt Baker, how far has she come, Joseph? She is now not only the face of the AEW women's division, might be the face of the entire company. It's been a long time coming for Britt. Shida capping off a great one-year reign as champion. She went out, she fought hard, went out as a champion. Inner Circle and Pinnacle. Just the peak of the feud. We thought Blood and Guts was tremendous. They topped it with Stadium Stampede. The Inner Circle, they've been together since our first AEW Dynamite. They're still together. It'll be interesting to see what's going on with them as we move forward with crowds coming back. Just a great show, Joseph. Quite possibly one of the best shows we've ever done. AEW has ever done, sorry.
That's fine. In case people didn't know what you were doing there, I'm glad you made it clear with the last two words. You didn't do it quickly enough, man. Tony's quicker than that.
Look, man, I don't have the energy for it today.
Yeah.
All right, it's been a day.
So you like the show then? Is what you telling me? You like the show? Okay, good.
It was good. I did very much enjoy this show. As you know, watching it live, it does get long, but yeah. But overall, like talking back on it now and taking out the factor of like, oh yeah, it's 1:30 and it was a long show. Mm-hmm. I did very much enjoy it.
It is amazing. There was a moment in this show, Jeremy Lambert, in which I was watching it. My brother was there, a gentleman that has not watched wrestling full time for about 20 years, and he's rocking and rolling with Orange Cassidy, and I was like, fuck, I can't believe they've managed this shit. I can't. I get it. I get it's very flawed. We've discussed the flaws. And maybe you feel, guys, I'm being too generous to the AEW, but like, when they're on, there's not a more like pure idealistic professional wrestling in the game to me. Like when it's like, you can really feel it. And again, I get that my job is to be cynical and not be a great big fucking mark, but unfortunately I'm a great big fucking mark. So that is, it is what it is. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Like watching it, legitimately brought me great joy that I still have now talking about. I was so excited to discuss it, and I really appreciate what all the people that like messaged me and was looking forward to the show because it means a lot because I am literally just a fan, and I think you know that, but I want to make it clear. And with this show, I didn't take any notes or anything. I just sat there and watched it, and I thought it was an absolute spectacle. 4 hours of just attractions, variety. What an event this was. And that's the word. It was an event, man. This was, when you're going to charge this much money, we talk about the build to these pay-per-view cards, and I think it's still an interesting discussion. When they run through that card, Jeremy, you sat there and was like, this is heavy. They're not missing on these matches. Like, this is a lot. When you have Sting wrestling his first live match in front of a crowd, and it's like 5th from the top in terms of priorities, you're not playing by the traditional play, but you're just swinging for the fences. And when they hit, it's knockout punches everywhere. It was immense. I absolutely loved it. I hope Dynamite builds on it, but if not, we spend so much time talking about where AEW's at and what they need to do for the casual fan and the ratings and this and that. It's just like, man, I'm just happy it's around. You know, it makes wrestling so much more interesting. When I got on Twitter on Friday, I saw that he'd posted that promo, that Bischoff-esque promo, and I saw it, and I saw people getting so angry, and I tweeted this, and I mean it. It's not me doing a bit. He's breathed life into the game.
Dude, people
he has breathed
angry.
life. It's terrible, isn't it? This is special. Like, this is a very special time in the sense that this felt like it would never happen again. When I say that, I'm not talking about competition. I don't care about that stuff. I'm talking about a viable alternative that you could sit there and watch and go, this is big time. This is big time pro wrestling, man. Gets me fired up. Honestly, I don't know where it's going. I don't know if this is the peak or we've got many ahead, but it makes wrestling better. And he has breathed life into the game through his sheer, just unadulterated, unapologetic passion for being a raving lunatic that does professional wrestling now. It's great. I love it.
All right. Let's wrap up here. What are we doing, Joseph? What tomorrow? What are we doing tomorrow? Yeah. Bad wrestling?
Sure, man. Is Tony Khan coming on after that big speech I just did? Or he should. He should come on.
Tony. I'll message him.
Like, you can slide into DMs, right?
Yeah. Be like, hey, do you want to come on our show? I mean, I'm here all the time.
He's just like, yeah, I will.
Sure. Like, dude, if I tell TK, if I'm like, hey, do you want to come hang out and watch, like, what's some shit matches we could watch? Like, you just want to watch this garbage wrestling with us?
Yeah.
They'd be like, yeah, sure. That sounds like fun.
Mm-hmm. Just can't ask about AEW. Just pretend he's never done anything in wrestling. He's just another fan. Yeah, we're here with Tony today. Tony, what sort of wrestling do you like? He gives a 10-minute answer about all the variety. This was fun. I like doing this, Jeremy. I don't know what we're doing tomorrow. I guess it's bad wrestling. Join us for that, folks. Good audience for this show, right? We got up to a peak of, like, in the 90s there. We had 70 consistently. We appreciate the love, folks. Always a pleasure. I don't know what we're doing tomorrow, but we'll do something.
Tomorrow, 3 o'clock, here on this channel, we will, we'll be doing something. Most likely bad wrestling. I don't know what else we're going to do, but possibly that, most likely that. Maybe something else. Figure that shit out. Wednesday, not around. Thursday, post-show after the main show, The Distraction, which is plugging the entire time that we're on air with the fancy graphics that I've created. Friday, Booty. What's that?
This is so important. We need to wish happy birthday to our friend Jack Crosby, right?
Yes.
It's important.
Yes.
Everyone go and do that on the Twitter. But yes, Jeremy, Friday we're doing the BP dub. I apologise for cutting you off, but I just thought, fine. Crosby, Hall of Fame, legend on The Distraction. Legend on The Distraction is what I said. Legend on The Distraction.
We don't have a Hall of Fame yet, Joseph.
Why would we have a Hall of Fame? We've hardly been existed for a year.
Well, I mean, next year we will have a Hall of Fame.
Okay. Well, I'm sure Bob O'Neill will be in first.
He will be.
It won't be Jack, I know that much. He's a legend, though. It's his birthday. Wish him well on Twitter. Maybe we'll get him on the channel sometime this week. I'm talking to Jack. We'll try and figure something out. Maybe he's off. Okay. So we'll see. But thanks, folks.
We rock all night. Appreciate the 5 months subscription, man. Thanks, buddy. Man, we've been doing this shit for a while. All right. It's also Joel Pearl's birthday tomorrow. I just mentioned that.
That feels less exciting. I'm going to be honest, Joel.
Way less exciting. Way less exciting. Who cares about Joel Pearl's birthday? Joel Pearl might actually join us on the stream tomorrow.
Well, way to sell it. Who could possibly care about Joel Pearl? He's on the show tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay. We're going to send you over to Alex. She's cool. We like Alex. Tell her you said hi. I think she's starting soon, so I don't think her stream is technically started, but she's starting soon. Send it to Alex. Everyone say hi to her. Y'all have a good night. Enjoy Raw. If you watch that shit, enjoy it. Have fun. Watch Game 7. Watch Game 7 hockey. Maybe the basketball won't suck tonight. It sucked this weekend, Joseph. Every game was terrible.
Weird, right?
Yeah.
Just a lot of just one-sided games.
The closest game was Lakers and Suns. That was 8 points. Every other game was double digits, and a lot of them were like 20+. And
that game wasn't even close for much.
Yeah.
It was weird.
Yeah. Well, this is a shitty weekend of NBA playoffs. Hopefully it picks up. All right, everybody. Y'all enjoy your night. We'll send you over to Alex.